YouTubers and TikTokers nationwide have covered nearly every step, but now Sebastian's mom, Katie Proudfoot, indicates it's gone too far. In a legal filing for an order of protection, Katie says Andra Griffin, also known by her YouTube name of Bullhorn Betty, accused the family of harming their son while, quote, inciting the public and her followers to aid her in stalking. Katie calls the YouTuber, quote, dangerous. Each of Bullhorn Betty's YouTube videos will be summarized for the DA's office. Until that time, a temporary restraining order says Andra cannot stalk or come within 100 feet of Katie or her home.
Recently, they have tried to put in an order of protection against Bullhorn Betty, who is a YouTuber. She's been involved in a lot of cases. And the point is she's gone to their campsite. I've seen a lot of the footage. She's gone by their house. She certainly is doing this, I think, as a boots on the ground YouTuber. There's a lot of them out there that are trying to show people, look, he's lying. He says he's here, but he's really not here, blah, 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 blah. What do you think about this order that she's trying to get? And what do you think about social media YouTubers and so forth doing this sort of action?
So it's as nuanced and multifaceted as you can get. I'm a huge fan of citizen journalism. Citizens are really the best witnesses for what happens in life, and they're a necessary part because they're the corpus that makes up our communities. So you have to have their involvement, and a more involved community, the better. I wish everybody could name their local judges. I just wish they didn't name them because of the mistakes that the judges had made. I think everybody should know who their chief of police is, just not because they kept on some people that probably shouldn't be cops anymore. People really should be involved in their community. Unfortunately, this is not what's happening with where the line is between community organizers and interested notable people and the outright harassment of private people. That's a tough line to draw. And I've seen it in lots of different cases, and I've seen all the different justifications. Oh, I'm just the press investor. I'm just a private concerned citizen about these dangerous people in my community. Reverse roles, because that's what a judge is going to do. And a judge is going to look at someone and say, hey, this family has suffered a crime. Their child is missing. A bad thing happened. What is the public doing to them? And what are the specific actions that are being complained about when it comes to something like a protective order?
Terry Bowersox. Terry Bowersox right there. Came up and decided to take my plate on. So you want to know who's harassing who out here? The proof is in the pudding. The Bowersox and the Proudfoots are the ones coming and harassing people. That right there, my friend, is Terry Bowersox. Came by and took a picture. Why are you taking my license plate?
Why are you filming me?
Because you came by and filmed me, Mr. Bowersox.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm in a public place. Yes, why are you harassing me and following me? Why are you harassing me and following me when I'm conducting business?
How can I be following you?
You just were in the plaza. You've been following me, sir. You guys have been harassing me and threatening me for 2 days.
Prove it.
I am. Right here, sir. Right here, sir. Prove it? Yeah, I did just prove it, asshole. Better go through that fucking light. Fuck with me. I don't need violence. I'll capture you on film. Prove it? There it is. Who's following? Who's stalking? Who's harassing? Now, you guys got yourself a lawsuit, Mr. Bowersox.
A protective order in all 50 states is a civil order. It is a quasi-criminal order because it's a civil order that results in criminal sanctions if it's violated. And remember how most of them are going to be couched. It's couched from what the listener, the petitioner who asked for that order, how they feel. Not the intent of the actor being complained against, but how reasonable is it for the petitioner holder of that restraining order, protective order, whatever you want to call it? How do they reasonably interpret the actions that have caused them to ask for this remedy?
going to stop, and everything that they've done to try to silence me is only going to make my voice even louder on this platform and other platforms related to the Sebastian Rogers case. What they did was totally stupid. It put them in liability, but more importantly, I'm pretty sure this is going to get around to Nina, and quite frankly, I think it might just be a little too dangerous for, poor little Faith to be around, the Bowersox home or the Proudfoot's home, I mean, it seems like it's a dangerous situation out there, right? People agree. I mean, we got a dangerous situation here, their lives are in danger here, at both the places that poor little Faith would be staying, it just seems really, really bad. It just seems like a bad optic, whenever you're trying to get custody or visitation with your child. It just seems like it's bad optics, right? So I don't know if she's learning about this or she will be learning about this, but it just sounds like it's awfully too dangerous for Faith. I definitely would be very, very, very concerned about that for sure. With all the craziness and the crazy YouTubers threatening their life and stuff, it just seems a little too dangerous for a little girl. That's all I'm saying, Obviously the household was a little too dangerous for a boy, a 15-year-old boy, long before we even got here. So, now that things are heating up and there's these deranged YouTubers running loose in the community, I would be, if I was Nina, I'd be so concerned about this, her child. So we'll see how this all plays out with the custody situation that's going on. But, it sounds like it's really dangerous over at the Bowersox. Probably not the best place for Faith to be. It sounds like it's pretty dangerous over at the Proudfoot's house, according to everything that they're making statements about allegedly.
And guess what? Going by their house, harassment, intimidation.
Driving on a public property, on public road with a camera hanging out. There's nothing unlawful about that. That happened over a month ago. It was when it's the only time I've been in the Hendersonville area.
Going online and screaming their name and attaching a whole bunch of people and frothing about, man, Judge Josh finds that pretty intentionally harassing. And if your job, whether you want to call it is to gain clicks through saying whatever is possible, I'm going to find that harassing, especially if you're doing it with a pecuniary intent where you're making any kind of money. And that's really where I get wound up against some of these people on the inner tubes, is because let's just cut to, they don't care. They care about clicks. They care about explosive, salacious allegations not based in truth, and digging up gotcha photographs and statements and misconstruing and mispresenting things so that people in their ever hungering need to not be in trouble and to point out how other people are bad because it reflects on their own insecurities inside, they're going to go click on that stuff and generate revenues through advertising. So I fully support these families who are somehow connected to a tragedy, exercising their rights to have the state protect them from the inherent harassment and abuse that some scrutiny brings. But where's that line? And I don't have a great read on where that line exactly is, because it's up to the petitioner. It's up to the Proudfoot. It's up to the set to get up there and say, hey, this is the person who's harassing me. This is the way the harassment is taking place. But I absolutely feel that these protective orders are valid. I'm already consulting and talking about different ways to go sue different producers of media because of some of the stuff that we've encountered from certain people on the internet. Because guess what? I get complaints about that person said this, and most of the time I'm like, no, I'm staying out of it. There are a couple that are really above and beyond the pale and are violating, in my opinion, and 12 people. I'll put it in front of 12 people. I'll ask 12 people, is that person, that content creator, are they doing this for legitimate reasons? Or are they intentionally harassing, abusing, intimidating these private citizens? And more importantly, are they interfering with law enforcement investigation? Because that's really what some of these people have done by going and talking to witnesses, by going and, trying to insert themselves before trial. You're now stomping all over the toes of law enforcement. And where there's a benefit, yes, the public gets to, get in there and investigate and show the press. That's great. You want to be press? Go be press. But if you're just a jerk neighbor who's harassing someone because you are going to present some piece of gotcha information, man, I hope you get sued into the ground, and I'll be the guy to yank your last pennies away so you can't pay your mortgage. Because guess what you're doing? It's wrong. It's wrong. You are not the self-appointed spokesman. You have freedom of speech. That freedom comes with accountability and costs. Free speech ain't free. You can spend your way into the poorhouse if you free speech your way into a lawsuit. And especially when it's combined with physical actions. And now we have allegations of literally witnesses having drive-bys and organized things. I think it'll be fascinating when it hits the courts.